Hi, this is Quinlan, and today I want to share with you one of the most sacred mountains in Japan. I'm now at the base of Mount Ontake. For the bulk of early Japanese history, people would come here to a number of waterfalls and caves. They would do ascetic rituals and purifications over the course of 100 days before they were able to attempt a pilgrimage up to the summit. And the only people even allowed to do this were ordained monks in one of the two Shugendo orders. Now these Shugenja, as they were called, or Yamabushi, in the old days were all ordained Buddhist monks as well as these sort of syncretic shamanic practitioners. They did purifications with fire and water. They would be possessed by the dead. And in addition to these rituals, they were of course praying for protection from disasters, disease, and good harvest, all of these things to protect the villages below. Let me tell you a little bit more about this mountain. Three main divinities were enshrined here. These divinities are a syncretism of Buddhism and Shintoism. By coming up these 338 steps, people praying here could symbolically achieve the same merit and benefits as if they had gone up the entire Mount Ontake. After you come up all the steps, all the way up to the shrine on top, then it's time to come partway down and continue your journey along the pilgrim's path. While we walk, I'd like to tell you the story of two pivotal monks that transformed this mountain and opened it from where it once was a place closed to the general populace and only available to ordained Shugenja, monks in these esoteric sacred traditions, and changed it into a popular religion that millions followed, so that people were coming from all over Japan. Imagine people standing right there, dressed in white, under this 30-meter falls, conducting the water ritual, these purifications, before heading up the mountain. From here at Kiyotaki, we continue to Shintaki, the other of the two purifying waterfalls. You can see this is not the easiest walking route, and so if you do come here and walk this route, be sure to have good footwear. And be careful because these rocks are often slippery and wet. And because we have to go up and over, there's quite a few stairs. We've got to go to the other side of that cliff. Up we go. And just like that, we're over to the top of the ridge. Now it's just a stroll down to Shintaki. Now let me tell you about the two pivotal figures who transformed this mountain from a place only accessible by a select few ascetic monks to a pilgrimage site among the most popular in all of Japan. The first of these two was Kakume. There's a Yamabushi. I can hear someone blowing a conch shell horn. So Kakume had visions that he needed to open the Ontake faith to be one that was available to everyone. Kakume attempted to negotiate with the people who were in charge of the mountain to allow more people to go without performing the 100 days of necessary ascetic rituals, which was the law then. And they denied him, saying that it was only for ordained monks who could stay and perform more than 3 months of rituals before they came. And in the end, he decided to do it anyway. So, hiring a guide and with a small team, he created a new trail up Mount Ontake and did an entire expedition, cutting a trail along the way, putting down statues and establishing a new pilgrimage route that would be open to all people with only a brief set of ritual purifications necessary before. He successfully did this, he summited, but then when he got back down and was spreading word of this, he was punished severely. He was actually arrested and briefly imprisoned. Though he was released, he wasn't held for very long. Then he made a second trip up to the top, but during this trip, he actually died near the summit at a place called Unake. So some say he actually martyred himself, and it was thanks to his death up there and his spirit thus residing on the summit that it became widely practiced by many others. But after him, there was one more person, and this person's name was Fukan. Fukan has actually a really interesting story, and we know more about the details of him from a number of historical books that I found. And wow, can you hear that conch shell in the distance? he's just blowing it again and again and again. Fukan was born into a family near Chichibu, which is, I guess, just north of Tokyo in modern-day Japan. And he was not in a samurai family, but it was a family that was training in swordsmanship. And when he was a young man, he was actually adopted by his samurai patron. And so he joined the samurai class, and he then married, but they were unable to conceive a child. And so they adopted a young girl, but then she fell ill and soon died. And so after these repeated tragedies, he was praying and he met a monk who said, "Your hands, these hands were not meant for holding a sword, but were meant to hold rosary beads." And so, with his wife's permission, he gave up his position as a samurai and shaved his head. So in this way, Fukan became a Buddhist monk and a Yamabushi. Now there are two stories of how it was that Fukan came to this mountain, Mount Ontake. The first, which is more a legend, is that he was doing the Henro pilgrimage in Shikoku, that 88-site loop around the entire island of Shikoku started by Kukai. And during that pilgrimage, he was accompanied for 3 days by a mysterious monk who told him that he must go and open Ontake to the people. And after saying this and being with him for those days, vanished. It seems that was just a legend. What most likely really happened is that Fukan, while being a Yamabushi and a monk, was also a spiritual healer, conducting seances and spiritual healings. So there was a man from the village of Otaki, which is right here at the base of Ontake, and this man was a woodcutter, and he had an eye disease. And he went for a long way to seek out Fukan, who was renowned as a healer, and Fukan did indeed heal his ailment and cured his eye disease. And this woodcutter told him of Ontake and gave him the idea of opening up this mountain to the people further still. And so that's what Fukan did. He came and he opened still yet another pilgrimage route to the summit and then traveled around publicizing it. And it was after Fukan that you got more and more people forming groups called Ko. And they would then send a group of people from one community who would follow one leader, a sendatsu they were called, and they would go perform brief rituals, meditations. Mainly they would dress in white and do purification under these waterfalls, though they would also do seances, communications with the gods and with other past spirits, and then they would ascend to the summit of Mount Ontake. And this became renowned for its positive effects. People would be cured from ailments, there were good harvests, freedom from disaster. People really believed in the worldly benefits of this sort of pilgrimage. And so it came that millions of people from all over Japan came to this sacred mountain. And this Yamabushi tradition of mountain worship was, during that period, the most popular religion in Japan.
山本遠遊といいます。御嶽山の、革命様を主に信仰している御嶽山の山伏です。初めて御嶽山見た時にすごい大きな山だなと思って感動したのとやっぱりこんな御嶽山のように信仰がたくさん残ってる山ってどんどん減ってるのでそれを少しでも守っていきたいなと思ったところから山伏になりました。御嶽山登っているとたくさん仏様とか神様がいらっしゃいますのでその場所でお経を唱えたり、ほら貝を吹いたりして、神様にお祈りしながら、少しずつ登ります。今日はこんな格好ですけど、普段は白装束を、山伏の装束を着て登ります。御嶽山の力を感じてもらえるといいなと思います。
Wow, how lucky was that? I talked to Yamamoto-san for quite a while. I was able to ask him a bunch of questions and things that were unclear to me, and it was really nice to be able to meet someone from that living tradition. So even if you're not a hiker and you're not up for ascending this huge volcano, Mount Ontake, and you're in this region, maybe you're doing the Nakasendo or you're from some other reason in this area of Nagano Prefecture, and you want to come check out these really beautiful, spiritually powerful, if you allow me to say it, waterfalls, Shintaki and Kiyotaki, I really recommend that you do come and just come with respect and approach these beautiful natural places that have been areas of worship and meditation for more than 1,000 years, approach them with awe. And if you are athletically fit, then why not also hike Mount Ontake, which I'm doing tomorrow. I'm gonna head back down and I've got to start getting ready for my hike tomorrow morning. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the trails.